And you thought that the end of 2024 couldn't possibly be better. What if I said that there was also a new round of layoffs at Kotaku? That's sure to bring a smile to your face, isn't it? Now, to be precise here, we don't know the exact size of this just yet, but this popped up. Alyssa Mercante, a rather famous person at this point, for creating a whole lot of noise without getting a whole lot of stuff done, really. Alyssa Mercante of Fight Me, but not really, I will refuse to take up any of your challenges fame, and also the person who's suing a YouTuber, SmashJT, for quoting her. Yeah. Well, at least she would have fit in very well at Kotaku, and I'm sure she did for the time she was there. But after exactly 2 years, I've decided to leave Kotaku and my role as a senior editor. So she's pinning this as if she's quitting herself. And then goes down here, this decision was made before the layoffs, but now I'm even more glad I made it. So the layoffs as well, as we can see here. God, I love the new changes to Twitter, by the way. Your block button will not avail you any further, vile heathen. I was laid off from Kotaku, don't know what is next for me. Can take time to process, figure out shit, but if you are a PR person, please keep in touch and maybe add by email to your list. And I never even got to write an introduction post to Kotaku, let alone a goodbye post or partake in the end of year conversation at the site. That shit was kind of a dream, not gonna lie. Sorry, shit sucks, and it's all hitting. So, we don't know again how many, but it appears there has been quite a few, as Alyssa Mercante also says, layoffs, and mentions this one specifically, so one would assume there'd be quite a few, and considering the general decline in the mainstream access media, it is hardly surprising that Kotaku is facing quite a few redundancies right now. And as for Alyssa Mercante herself, well, you know, if she's quitting a job, a gig in the mainstream media, which I believe she had previously said that if she got fired, she'd simply go back to being a sex worker. That's the diplomatic word for it. I mean, she must have some plans, right? You don't just go out and quit your job for no reason. So what she's gonna do? I have some things coming down the pike, so keep your eyes peeled. Aha, I see. Yeah, left, quit. Certainly. Absolutely. Because that's what you usually do. You quit your job when you have nothing more specific than down the pike in mind. I don't know if I necessarily believe that myself, but oh well. And this, of course, also comes hot on the heels of Kotaku having a little bit of a cope about the elections. And hold on, am I the only one who sees this? So you already have everything you need, and hey, maybe you should go out and shoot some Nazis. What exactly is your definition of a Nazi again, Kotaku? Because I just covered an article literally yesterday where the definition of Nazi appears to be everyone who didn't vote for Kamala Harris, so it's a bit of an intriguing implication you've got there, Kotaku, but hey, if nothing else, it is a well-timed one, as there are probably a lot of people that aren't very happy right now, and I even mentioned that I was kind of surprised there weren't a whole lot of riots going on. Well, they're starting to kick up now, let's just say. I do hope that the Trumphalophagus has gotten an extra large security detail, as I've got a sneaking suspicion that he might require one, considering the way things are currently going. But on the bright side, this isn't going to be going on for all that much longer. Kotaku has been struggling for a very long time, the majority of the gaming access media has as well, and with the 2024 election hammering home the point yet again, the mainstream media has now simply been relegated to playing second fiddle for alternative media, for podcasts in particular, as Joe Rogan's coverage of Trump himself, of course, of J.D. Vance and Elon Musk were all enormous, and no doubt affected the election. I have no doubt in the slightest. These podcast performances, and perhaps even more crucially, the fact that Kamala Harris did not appear, despite having an open invitation to do so, definitely shifted some votes here and there, because the Democrat Party was already struggling with a perception problem, and one that the mainstream media cannot fix. See, that's the thing. At this point, the access media has pretty much known for just being a PR arm of, in this case, the video game publishers, and the mainstream media for simply being an arm of whatever political party they largely prefer, a position that they have reaffirmed again and again, and even did so last election with the debates of Trump versus 3 other people, for example. And the fact then that you have Trump going into what is obviously, self-evidently, a massively adversarial environment on television, going 3v1 and still walking back out. And then you have Kamala Harris refusing to go in even and simply have a talk. Like, Joe Rogan, softball, all 3 of those interviews to an enormous degree. He did not go hard on Trump. He simply wanted, and he said again and again, all he wanted to do was have a conversation with Kamala Harris. He repeated that in, I think, every single one of the interviews. All he wanted to have was a conversation. They didn't even need to talk about politics, they just needed to have a talk. And the fact that Kamala refused to do even that, well, it just makes her look unfathomably weak, frankly. Only then take into consideration, of course, again, that you've also got Biden's flagging mental health, which, weirdly enough, seems to have really recovered rather suddenly. Which has caused quite a few memes to pop up as well. That he just didn't want to do this shit no more. And was playing it up for the crowd, shall we say. Well, Kamala didn't apparently notice his flagging mental fortitude, if indeed it was flagging, one must now question. And so, how do you elect this person who couldn't tell that her boss wasn't capable of doing his job? How can you elect this person who will not even simply have a conversation? How can you elect this person who interrupts even interviews with the mainstream media, because of the Fox News interview, in the middle? You just can't. It comes across as incredibly weak. And the only arena in which you can fix this perception is going to be in the alternative media, because people trust it far more so than the mainstream. The alternative media has, for better or worse, become the authentic alternative, and that's going to cause some problems as well in the long term, as you will be able to package and sell authenticity. And so long as it comes with that stamp, you can potentially sell pretty much any misinformation you want. The mainstream media does actually have a point there. At least, when the entirety of our news picture was dominated by like 3 outlets, we all had a fairly unified view on things, because we were all getting our information from more or less the same well. That of course also meant that once those 3 outlets decided to lie to us, there was absolutely nothing we could do, and now that we are receiving our information from 10,000 outlets, the risk of an outright lie becoming, stridently entrenched is significantly lower. At the very least, there will be ample sources for pushback and refutations and debunkings. However, it also means that some of those 10,000 sources are probably statistically going to be lies as well. And if we then imbue those with the seemingly, intrinsic trust of authenticity, because they are not the mainstream media, there are dangers to that as well, no doubt. And we have seen it both on the left and the right, where people will either jump to conclusions too early, they will push agendas or ideas before anything has been confirmed, or they will simply just, make shit up out of whole cloth. This has all happened, will happen again, and sometimes, most of the time I hope, they are simply honest mistakes. Other times, there might be something more malicious behind it, but you cannot fight the future. It is simply impossible, and it is a problem we are going to have to deal with it when it eventually begins to arrive on scale. We'll worry about, in essence, we will worry about the boy who cried wolf after we've actually defeated the wolves, shall we? Seems reasonable, and seeing as one of the wolves is currently on its back with what appears to be a bad case of the broken spines, I'd say we're doing a relatively good job so far. Until next time, I've been Arch. Thank you all very much for watching, and I do hope to see you all again soon. Till then, have a good day, and God, fuck Kotaku.